You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. It doesn't get any better than that, ladies and gentlemen. How many podcasts do you know that have an opera singer to do the intro? I don't think there's many, but does it matter? I don't know. It sounded funny in my head at the time. Welcome to the show, my family and friends. As always, the Chris Voss Show, the giant circus tent in the sky, where we bring you all the smartest people for 15 years, 3 to 4 shows a day, 15 to 20 shows a day. The billionaires, the CEOs, the White House advisors, the U.S. We had a U.S. ambassador on the show too. FBI, U.S. Justice Department, CIA. Well, we haven't CIA. I got to leave that off. All the Pulitzer Prize winners, the smartest minds on the show that come and share stuff with you. I got to tell you, I was going through yesterday's shows, and some people blew my mind with the epiphanies that they share with me. In fact, I ordered a mold and mildew filter off for like $600 over it. You've got to watch the shows, because if you're not watching these shows or listening to these shows, you are missing out on so much data that will give you the Chris Voss Show glow, as I like to call it. And so there you go. And we've got more glow coming to you today with our current guest. He's a returning guest. He was just on our show last month, Noah St. John. And he blew our minds so much that we're like, we've got to have more of you to contribute to the Chris Voss Show. And he's going to be joining us today. Now, in the meantime, though, we need to guilt and shame you and beg and ask of you, plead. We'll get down on our knees if we have to. Refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Call your friends up. Say, subscribe to the Chris Voss Show or else. No, don't do that. We can't have that. Lawyers said that's bad, and I can't do it anymore. So did the judge. Anyway, guys, tell them to go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss, and Chris Voss 1 on the tickety-tockety as well. Dr. Noah St. John joins us today. He's known as the father of affirmations. I'd hate to see his child support bill. He is also the mental health coach to the stars. He's the author of 24 books, including Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. Working with Hollywood celebrities, 8-figure company CEOs, and professional athletes, Noah is famous for helping entrepreneurs make more in just 12 weeks than they made in the last 12 months, while winning their lives back. That's always good to do. Noah has also appeared frequently in news worldwide, including ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Entrepreneur, and Success Magazine. Welcome to the show, Dr. Noah St. John.
Great to be back, Chris.
It's good to have you as well. I love how your bio ended with that lead in for me. So thank you. You're helping me do the work there. Give me your .coms. Where do you want people to go find you on the interwebs, or use your .coms to find out more about you?
My main website is just simply my name, Noah St. John, NOAHSTJOHN, just like it sounds, noahstjohn.com. And the book we're talking about today is called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. And because you're listening to this program, you can get actually a free copy of this book.
Free.
We just ask you to cover the shipping. And this is a fun website. Ready? Sendmeabooknoah.com. Very easy to remember. Sendmeabooknoah.com, and I will do that. I will send you a book.
That's pretty awesome.
So that's it.
I'm looking at the Amazon page. It's $15.95 on there. You can get it free with shipping.
That's what I'm saying.
Damn good deal.
That's a damn good deal.
I'm sold already. Where did I sign up? So we'll have that link on the Chris Voss Show.
Send me a book, Noah.
Send me a book, Noah. There you go. I should use that on my OnlyFans. Send me a picture on Snapchat, Chris. No, that's not OnlyFans joke. It's a callback joke. So anyway, Noah, welcome back.
Thank you.
Give us a 30,000 overview for those who aren't aware of you, didn't see your prior appearance. What you do and how you do it.
Well, as you mentioned in your introduction, I am known for helping entrepreneurs, experts, coaches, chiropractors, health professionals, network marketing professionals, literally people from all around the world to make more in just 12 weeks than they did in the past 12 months while winning their lives back in the process. And that last phase is a very interesting and very important point because, of course, there's lots and lots of gurus out there They say, oh, hey, here's how to make more money. Just work twice as hard, twice as long, never see your family, never take a break. Sound good? Like,
well, if you know some people's
kind of
family,
sucks.
it's kind of a benefit not to see them. Oh, I'm just
boom.
kidding. But no, really.
Anyway, the point is, I don't know about you, but I like to have a life. You know, I want my business to serve me and support my lifestyle, not the other way around. So many entrepreneurs and people are working really, really hard out there. They're working longer hours, taking their work home, you know, and they just never get to take a break. And that to me is not the kind of life that I want. And I don't think it's what most people want. So really, my work is about, yes, helping people make a lot more money. I mean, I've helped people to add multiple 6 and 7 and even 8 figures. And the point is, while winning your life back in the process.
There you go. Winning your life back in the process. So this is fun to have. So in your book, you talk about getting rid of the head trash about money. What is it, head trash? What is our head trash?
Yes, absolutely. So this is something that I've been teaching for over 25 years now. And you could say that I've written 24 books basically about this one subject, which is how to take out the trash that's in your head. So for everybody listening to the program, I want you to think about your goals, all right? Well, of course, everybody talks about your goals. It's like, oh, I'm going to set your goals. We've heard this a million times. Yes, I know. But this is a little bit different, and I'll show you why. So first of all, most people don't realize that there are 3 types of goals that you can have, right, as human beings. There are 3 types of goals. So the types of goals are being, doing, and having. Oh. What I mean by that is there are goals of being. You know, I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to, feel a sense of accomplishment. And so those are goals of being. Then you have goals of doing. I want to take my family on a trip to the Grand Canyon. I want to go on a vacation to Hawaii. I want to, do all these fun things, right? So I want to do. And then, of course, the goals of having, right? I want to have a new car. I want to have a new house. I want to have a nicer wardrobe, have more money, whatever that might be, have more time. Okay, so for the folks listening, you might not be aware, or you might have not thought about that before, that when you are writing your goals or setting your goals, you want to think about those 3 different categories, the being, doing, and having. All right, so that's the first point. Now, however, the second point, this is where it gets really interesting. Here's what happens for most people. So let's say most people, they set their goals and like, oh, I want to do this, I want to be that, and I want to have that. Great. The problem is the very next thing that happens for so many people is the very next thought that they have is, I probably can't do it. Right. So I'll give you an example. So, a lot of people come to me and say, hey, Noah, I want to make more money. And I say, okay, here's $5, go away. No, you got to be a lot clearer than that. First of all, I mean, that's not a good enough goal. You can't say, I want to make more money. No, you got to say, well, how much more do you want? So I want to add another $10,000 a month to my business, or 50,000 or 100,000, whatever the number, it doesn't matter. All right, but here's what happens. So let's just take 10,000 a month. That's a common one. I want to add an additional 10,000 a month. Now, just think about this for 1 second, though. Just adding an additional 10,000 a month. I mean, that's life-changing money for most people, right? For most people listening to this program, we're talking life-changing money. I mean, that's easily covering your mortgage, covering your car, your insurance, maybe sending your kids to college or whatever. So 10,000 a month is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of money, right? So I call it life-changing money for most people. Yeah. But here's the thing that happens. They say, hey, Noah, I want to make, an additional 10K a month, but I can't do it. And here's what gets even more interesting. They say, I can't do it because ... And then they just fill in the blank, right? With all of their reasons, excuses of why they can't do it. Well, Noah, I want to make more money, but I can't do it because I don't have the time. I want to start my business, but I can't afford it. I want to, write a book like you do, but I don't know where to start. See, so whatever comes after the word because, and I can't do it because, or but I can't do it because, whatever comes after that is, in fact, the very thing that's keeping you stuck. Yeah. And what's so funny about that is the thing you're going to defend to the death. And why do we do that? Well, because we humans avoid change. Now, we all want change, but we also fear it at the same time. Okay. And so the very thing that you desire is on the other side of fear. Everything you desire is on the other side of fear. So all of that wrapped up, what I just said, all of that, which is what I've been teaching for many, many years now, is in fact your head trash. And what many people have said about my work is, once you fix this one problem, this is the one problem that's causing all your other problems. And what I mean by that is once you fix this one problem, all those other problems tend to go away.
There you go. Sounds like my first 10 marriages. So there's a thing you talk in the book about. There's a thing you talk in the book about your worst day of your life and how it set you free. You want to tell that story?
Yes. So what happened was many years ago, this was in 2007. And I started my company, successclinic.com. That's the name of my company. I started in 1997, over 26 years ago now. In a 300 square foot basement apartment. Wow. With $800 and a book on HTML. So I had nothing. I mean, I had no money. I had no connections. I had no list. I had no marketing experience, no sales, no accounting, no bookkeeping, nothing. I had no idea how to run a business, let alone an online business, which was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty new back then, right?
Back then, or, people.
Exactly.
We're still doing AOL dial-up. I think.
Oh, totally dial it. Absolutely. I was absolutely on all those old dial-ups.
That squealing sound.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So the point is, but what happened was I had a mission, a deep burning desire to make a difference, to make an impact. And as Steve Jobs put it, put a dent in the universe. Okay. So I knew that I had a message that I really needed to get out to the world, but I didn't know how to do it. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I just said, well, I got to figure this out. So long story short, I published my first book, which was called Permission to Succeed. It was subsequently published by the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher in 1999. And so that really was, the beginning of this journey. And so, but the point is, over the years, as money would come into the business, first it came in slowly, and then it started to come in faster and faster, and I started to get more coaching clients. I still really didn't know how to grow the business. And so I ended up paying a lot of gurus a lot of money, only to find out they can't teach their way out of a paper bag.
Oh, wow.
They're very, very good at self-promotion and self-marketing, but they suck at teaching and coaching. And so what happened was I paid all this money to all these gurus, and it was, over $250,000 over the course of, 10 years. And because they gave me such bad advice, such lousy and just
you paid
wrong
all that
advice,
money for it?
I spent all that money and they gave me such bad advice. I ended up $40,000 in debt, and I had to move back into my parents' house at the age of 40 in 2007 with $40,000 in debt. After 10 years of hard work, because of following that really, really lousy advice. So the worst day of my life, which you're alluding to, is I remember after all that happened, I'm just sitting there. It's like, I was just at the end of my rope, and I'm like, what the heck just happened? And, it was like a bomb just went off, and I didn't even know what the heck was going on. And I sat there and I wrote down all of the, debt that I was in, all the credit cards and everything I owed. And I realized, to my horror, that I was $40,000 in debt. And I had basically nothing to show for 10 years of work.
Wow. And
so what happened was, again, I was living with my parents. I was working out of my parents' basement. And I said, what the heck am I going to do now? And that's when I realized I had like a blinding flash of the obvious. And that's when I realized, wait a minute. We all know the definition of insanity, right? Do the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That's insanity. So I said, what I have got to do is I've got to find a better way. I've got to find a new way, something that I haven't tried before. Because I'll tell you what, my parents and my friends, they said, well, no, you've been doing this 10 years, got nothing to show for it. Maybe you should just go get a job. And, they meant well, they loved me. It wasn't like they were being mean about it. They were just, as a parent, you don't want to see your kids suffer. And I was definitely suffering. And so they said, well, just go get a job. I mean, just forget the whole thing. But I knew that, no, I'm not going to forget the whole thing. I'm not going to go get a job. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with getting a job. I'm just saying I knew that I had a message that I wanted to give to the world and get paid for it. There
you go. The paid for it part is the best.
Exactly. And so anyway, that's when I made the decision that really changed my life. And that's when I decided to hire my first real business mentor. Now, prior to that, I was spending money on all these gurus out there, again, who I mentioned, who are very good at self-promotion and self-marketing, but who suck at teaching. So this time I realized, wait a minute, I've got to get somebody who maybe is not as famous, maybe is not as well known, but they're a great teacher. Now, how do you know that? Well, you go to their success stories, you go to their case studies, you go to their website, and you just do your research, and you say, okay, do they have case studies and reviews and testimonials from people who are like me? You know, meaning people who have a message, people who want to get their message out. Maybe you've written a book or maybe you haven't, doesn't matter. But, you know, that means that there's a system. See, because what I've realized over these many years I've been doing this, there's a big, big difference between personality-driven success and system-driven success. Personality-driven success is exactly what it sounds like. It's based on that guru's personality. But of course, the problem is, what if I don't have that personality? And guess what?
True.
Most of us don't. Most of us don't.
You really nail something on the head there, because a lot of people, you know, I mean, a lot of these people that are motivational folks, they have a lot of charisma, and good for them. I mean, that's you know, they can communicate well and they have that, but a lot of people haven't sharpened those edges, and you know, and sometimes they're kind of still kind of locked into being inverted. You know, and they're like, you know, Chris, I'm not like, you know, I've had people say that to me, Chris, I'm not like you. I'm not, you know, super charismatic and engaging and funny and, you know, a loudmouth that's just an idiot all the time. People say that to me a lot. But you bring up a good point that it's hard to replicate that, and people can't do that same bombastic, like the bombastic nature of, and I'm not being negative about Tony Robbins, but I mean, the guy's really good at fucking delivery. And so
he's a great salesman. That's what he is. He is a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly one of the best.
Yeah.
But that's it. And so the point is, where is the system? I've had many clients and people who've told me, you know, they paid a lot of money to people like that, and then they ended up walking out because it's like, there's no there there. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So anyway, point is, I did my research, did my homework. I hired this business guru. And remember, and this is an important point for the folks listening, I didn't have any money. I didn't have any money, right? Putting that in quotation marks. But what I found is that you always have the money. The money is always there. So this is one of the things that people use as a huge excuse. They're head trash. Oh, no, I really want, you know, you to help me, or I want to grow my business, but I can't afford it. I don't have the money. Really? You don't have the money? That's funny. What are you spending? Oh, how many of these streaming services do you have right now? And you're spending X a month on Netflix and all these guys. Now, listen, I'm not saying, you know, don't have fun, don't enjoy your life. I'm saying, isn't that interesting? You always find the money for the things that you deem are important.
You busted a lot of people, right?
Hello.
Yeah,
So anyway, my point is, I didn't have the money, but I did it anyway. And when your Y2 is strong enough, you find the way. When your Y2 is strong enough, you find the way to. And so I did. Anyway, long story short, that is why, you know, this is a really long answer to your question, but that was the worst day of my life and why it set me free. Because once I added all that numbers up, I realized I was doing the definition of insanity, going to all those gurus who can't teach to wear a paper bag. I said, I've got to do my homework, do my research, and then hire that business coach. And that was what changed everything for me. Literally in less than 12 months, I had all my debts paid off. I'd moved out of my parents' house, moved here to the Midwest, and I met the girl who would become my wife now. We've been married 16 years. We live in a 6,000 square foot mansion, which I was able to pay off the mortgage 27 years early. So
nice.
Anyway, that's what
it all worked out. What was the key to your coach that made him different than other coaches? That's probably something people are asking right now.
Yeah, it really came down to the system. And see, I have a very systematic mind. And I think most people are similar to me in the fact that, you know, most people that, you know, when they come to me for coaching, whether it's one-on-one or group coaching, most of the people that come to me say something like this: Noah, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And that's what I'm like. I'm like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And see, with all those clowns that I paid all that money to, they never told me anything.
Wow.
You know, they never said anything. I paid them all their money and I'm like, okay, tell me what to do. Well, you know, go make money. Go build your list.
Go make money.
Yeah. Hello. What? Hello. It's literally like, it's like if you hire, you know, somebody to build your house, or, you know, and then they say, okay, well, what do you want to do? Well, build a house. Go ahead. where do we start? What's step one? Where do we go from here? What's the first thing to do?
Do I lay the foundation or do I start with the roof?
Exactly.
How does it work?
So anyway, that was, because I have a very sequential mind, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I think most people are like that. Certainly the people that I coach are like, and what's so funny is I end up coaching a lot of people. I have ended up, over the last many years, coaching people just like me who've tried all these things, spent all this money, and yet they still hit that income ceiling. They're still hitting that income ceiling. Just a quick example of this. One of my coaching clients named Tamisa lives she's a business owner in Arizona. And she was a self-described seminar junkie. She was going to all these seminars, similar to what I was doing and going, running around, going to all these guru seminars. And she was making six figures in her business. So she was doing well, but she couldn't break through that income ceiling, no matter how many seminars she went to. And so she decided to join my coaching program. We have a coaching program called the 12-Week Breakthrough, where I help people make more than 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months, hence 12-Week Breakthrough, right? So anyway, she joined the program. In the first 2 weeks, she tripled her investment.
Wow.
In 2 weeks. We hadn't even gotten to the money part yet, and she tripled her investment. So what does that tell you? When you have a system, the system does the work, so you don't have to.
And that's really the key to freeing up your time so that you can maximize
That's
it, right? The system. Well, this has been really insightful. This getting rid of your head trash. Some people have these reasons, these scotomas they build. Sometimes they pick them up in childhood from their parents, and their parents mean well. But, when mom says we don't have enough money, because she just doesn't want to buy you the Cocoa Puffs that's going to make you bounce off the walls from all the sugar that's in it. She's not really broke. She just doesn't want to deal with you bouncing off the walls. And but people, get this thing. And so I think some people attach too much empowerment to money. Like they don't see it as a tool. They just see it as, I don't know, something they worship. I don't know. But, the people focus on that. So you in the book, you espouse 5 simple steps that have generated millions of dollars for your clients. Do we want to tease out any of them?
Sure. Well, I can't go into all 5. We
can't give away the thing.
Well, yeah. But anyway, I will tell you the first step, and this is something that everyone can do right now. And one of the mistakes that people make is really right in the title. And that is not getting rid of your head trash about money. Oh. And see, you alluded to this a moment ago. And see, money is a very emotional topic for everybody. I mean, I don't know of any adult, in America or any other country where money isn't a very emotional issue. Now, there's many reasons for that. One is that it is one of the last taboo subjects. Think about that. There's not many taboo subjects left, here in our modern culture. If you don't believe me, next time you're at a party or a networking event or a seminar, go up to someone and say, "Excuse me, could you tell me how much money you made last year?"
I see your point.
See how that conversation goes, right? It's like, boom. It's like, that's not going to go so well. But why? Why? Because it's a taboo subject. It's something we don't talk about in polite company, right? Well, when there's a taboo subject, it's kind of like having Voldemort. It's like Voldemort, he who shall not be named. It's like, we make it this big, awful thing. And it's like, it's just the money. Come on, guys. Anyway, that's just one example. But anyway, the point is that when you don't even identify, let alone get rid of your head trash, it's really going to be holding you back. Let me give you another real life example from one of my clients. So with all of my clients, I ask them, several questions, of course, when they're coming in, whether it's one-on-one or group coaching. And so I was talking with one of my clients, his name's Charles. And I said, "Charles, how much," and because he'd read my book and he was, familiar with my philosophy and how I'm different. And he said, I said to him, "How much do you think it's going to cost you if we don't get rid of your head trash in the next 12 months? How much do you think that's going to cost you?" Now, without batting an eye, he said $1 million.
Holy crap.
He said, "No, if I don't get," because he was making 6 figures, he's doing well, doing well, but he just couldn't break through that ceiling. Yeah. Okay. But if I don't get rid of this, he said, it's going to cost me $1 million. I said, "First of all, Charles, I hear this every day. Every day people say to me, no, if I don't get rid of this one problem, it's easily going to cost me 6 or 7 figures in the next 12 months. Mm-hmm. So I said, "I tell you what, here's what we're going to do. Just give me 10% of that $1 million, and I will find you $1 million in the next 12 months. In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 in return, is that a good deal?" He goes, "Well, yeah, that's a good deal." So he said, let's do it. So he paid me $100K. That's 10% of $1 million, right? So he paid me $100K to coach him one-on-one for a year. Now, as it turned out, I didn't find him $1 million in the next 12 months. Instead, I found him $1.8 million in just 10 months.
Wow. That
Yeah.
seems like a
So
better
he
deal.
gave me $1. I gave him $18 back. Is that a good deal? Nope. That's a great deal.
That's a great deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
guess what? It gets even better because he sent me an email recently. He said, hey, Noah, guess where I am right now? I'm on a 7-week vacation with my wife. We just bought a new RV with, all this money we've got. So we bought a brand new RV. We're taking 7 weeks off. We're going to drive around the Southeast. He said, this is something I've been dreaming of for years, and I've never had the time or the money to do it. So now, as a result of our coaching, not only do I have more money than ever, I have more time than ever had. And I said, you're welcome.
There you go. And pay me. So there you go. No, that, it's extraordinary how many things we hold ourselves back with.
Yes.
You bring up a good point of maybe what people should ask themselves, not what it's going to cost, not what it's going to take, not what making that first step, as you talk about with the 5 steps in your book, but how much is it going to cost you for reals?
If you don't fix this one problem.
Yeah. How much does it cost you in life?
Right.
Being poor, and I'm not trying to shame being poor, but being in a poor state costs you so much more with just what it costs in life, what it costs in healthcare, what it costs in everything. It's a drain. And,
Totally.
and maybe look at, you raised a good example with your client there. He's on a boat, he's on vacation, he's enjoying his life.
Right.
You look at that and go, that's going to be a cost to me if I don't pursue that, if I don't go achieve that I'm losing all of that. And so maybe, there's an old line from Rush that says, sometimes we won't pay the price, but we won't count the cost. Or sometimes we're willing to pay the price for something, we won't count the cost on something. And so it's kind of a spin that way. But, that's probably something some of the people have to think about is if you don't go for it, if you don't go for your goals, if you don't pursue that dream or vision that you have, what is it really going to cost you in the long run? I've stuff I've built in my lifetime, I've been just sometimes, initially, or sometimes for the first few years, you're like, I don't know, man, this thing's just this, that, the other. But sometimes you reach the kind of mid stage or kind of where you're at, and you just go, holy shit, this pays dividends that I never even thought of. And, and it was worth it. It was worth it in spades. So there you go.
That's exactly. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Roundabout and final thoughts on the book and as we go out.
Well, I mean, that's so true. And by the way, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, so I know what it's like to live in poverty. And I know that's a total cliche, but it's totally true. I grew up in a little
you
town.
and I grew up the same way.
I know, right? I mean, I grew up in this little town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which is one of the wealthiest communities in New England, but my family was dirt poor. And I mean that literally because we lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure when I was just 15. So I know what it's like to grow up poor and in poverty consciousness. So I had to work my ass off just to get rid of that head trash about money that I didn't even know that I had. Because when you grow up with it, you just assume that's the way life is, right? Yeah. But I saw that right down the street, there's great wealth and abundance. So I said, how the heck do I get from here to there? So, I mean, look, that whole process took me over 20 years and, an insane amount of money that I had to spend. So, when I am giving resources like my book and my coaching and my courses, I mean, the point is I have condensed over $500,000 in 20 years into something that costs you, frankly, just a fraction of that in both time and money.
There you go. And it's a wonderful spread. I had the same issue. I grew up, my family was, I think at the time they were half well off, but we lived 2 blocks from the, what was used to be the Chinese Man Theater in North Hollywood in Hollywood, and just off of La Brea and Hollywood Boulevard. And my parents managed an apartment building. So that's how we ended up in Hollywood. They weren't rich. And we were down the block from Bob Barker in his famous home that's the first Adobe home built in Los Angeles. And we used to walk the dog with Bob Barker. Me and my grandmother would walk the dogs as a kid. And so as 2 or 3, I grew up in this environment of Hollywood where every time you come to a stop at a corner, Bentleys, Rolls Royce, all the most beautiful cars and opulence around you. And I remember saying to my dad, these cars are really cool. How come you don't drive one of these? And he would say, well, the bank owns those cars. And I'd say, but doesn't the bank own your VW bus? I'd say, shut up, kid. So I started recognizing early on, but I grew up with that dichotomy like you did, where you're like, hey, how come we don't have the nice shit that these people do? Right. And growing up in Hollywood, that's a whole different spin on your brain, man. Yes. You see the opulence, and you see, how my parents were fairly good, but we had a nice piano, and it was a beautiful Art Deco joint that's still there. But yeah, it was such a head spin. But yeah, I think I love the concept of thinking about what is this going to cost you in the long run. And of course, getting rid of your head trash is the first step. So give us your pitch as we go out, and .coms, where you want people to go on .coms.
Absolutely. So to get the book, Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money, easy to remember, sendmeabooknoah.com. Sendmeabooknoah.com. So the book is free. Just cover the shipping. We ship anywhere on planet Earth. So sendmeabooknoah.com. And by the way, if you want to go and learn more about my coaching and how I help people make more in 12 weeks than in the past 12 months while winning the life back, go to breakthroughwithnoah.com. Also easy to remember, breakthroughwithnoah.com. I'm known as the Breakthrough Coach because I help people break through their limiting beliefs. Breakthroughwithnoah.com, that has an 11-minute training video, and then you could book a breakthrough consultation with me or one of my coaches and see tons of case studies, success stories at breakthroughwithnoah.com.
There you go, folks. Well, Noah, it's been fun and wonderful, and you bring such great energy to the show. We really appreciate you coming by.
Happy to come back anytime.
There you go. Thanks to my audience for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, and Chris Voss 1 on the tickety talkie. Order up. Don't order off of Amazon because you're going to pay full price for it. And use his link. Get rid of your head trash about money. How to avoid the 3 massive money mistakes even smart people make. Thanks for tuning into my audience. Be good to each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.